So it is right at 10 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome. My name is Tony Blunt. I'm a Regional Impact Manager with myFutureNC, and along with my colleagues and Chris Charbonneau, who is leading the statewide FAFSA Priority Network, we welcome you. myFutureNC also works alongside Carolina Demography, who assists with our data for the FAFSA tracker, and NC-SEAA, who helps us coordinate the FAFSA efforts and the Finish the FAFSA report. So the First in FAFSA campaign is one of the strands of work of myFutureNC, which is a statewide organization with the vision of 2 million North Carolinians earning a post-secondary degree or credential by 2030. So we welcome all of you to this FAFSA Network webinar today. We thank you for joining us. We are thrilled to announce that we have a panel of 4 guests, 2 from higher education financial aid offices and 2 from the North Carolina Community College System office. We have an exciting hour, so let's go ahead and get started. Just for some technical beginnings here, we are recording the webinar. The recording and the resources will be sent by email post-webinar. Chris Charbonneau, my colleague, is the technical support behind the scenes. You will notice that she will be adding things in our chat and helping us navigate the question and answers throughout our session today. And due to the number of attendees, everyone is automatically placed on mute. And we do encourage you to submit questions as often as you have them, and we'll take some natural breaks to address your questions and comments. So as we look at this North Carolina map, it's a reminder of the 49 school districts that are considered to be in the FAFSA priority districts. Generally, school districts that remain at the 40% completion threshold or below are in the FAFSA priority network. This list grew from 42 to 49 districts going from year 1 to year 2. And as we look at the resources and the tools on the First in FAFSA website, we are reminded to connect, either register if you're not already connected, or read the monthly newsletter, utilize the resources and tools on the website, track and study the data through the use of the FAFSA tracker, and also follow the challenge leaderboard, and take a look at the innovative practices that our colleagues throughout North Carolina have submitted. So speaking of the leaderboard, we celebrate with these high schools on this slide with percent growth, which basically means comparing the month from January 22 to February 22 and listing out here the percent point change. We also celebrate on the leaderboard schools with the highest FAFSA completion rate, and that is for the academic year that we're in now for the FAFSA completion year 2022-2023. We're also celebrating the North Carolina high schools this month with the FAFSA 50. So those are the schools with 50% or more FAFSA completion rates as of February 15th. These schools earned $100 thanks to funding from a generous sponsor, North State Bank. I'd like to point out some data about these schools. 28% of the FAFSA 50 schools are in this FAFSA network. So we need to know, if you need to know where your school is in FAFSA completion, check out our FAFSA tracker on myfuturenc.org. Now let's take a look at the statewide FAFSA completion rates as of this week. So basically, as of March 4th, North Carolina students are currently at 40.6% completion rate, which is equivalent to 43,298 students, and which is about a negative 5% change compared to last year at this time. And so just as a reminder, we have a state goal of 65%. We do expect a jump between now and July in this time range, because this is the time when students are making their final post-secondary plans. They're deciding to complete the FAFSA, and they're either interacting with their college financial aid officers, or they're staying in touch with their high school counseling teams for assistance and advising on post-secondary plans. So we do expect a jump from here moving forward into the summer. I'd like to also address the tool called Finish the FAFSA. So this is a report that is offered through NCSEAA, the North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority. It is located on the CFNC Pro Tool site. And school counselors that have direct interaction with the students in the senior class completing a FAFSA have the opportunity to connect with NCAA through the email on this slide in order to get access to the Finish the FAFSA report. This is a student-centered data report with student names, whether they've completed and submitted the FAFSA, and if there are any errors that need to be fixed. And those errors could include anything from the Social Security numbers don't match, the parent or the student did not sign the FAFSA, or perhaps the multiple errors. But the counselor would have access to that, can check it daily, weekly, and then connect with students who then could need some assistance in fixing those errors to fully submit and complete their FAFSA. And so before we begin with our guest panelists, I'd like to take a moment to introduce them. We are fortunate to have with us Zilma Lopes, who is the current Director of Financial Aid and Veteran Services at Robinson Community College. Ms. Lopes also serves as the current president for the North Carolina Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators, where she is responsible for training and professional development opportunities to financial aid administrators across the state. She has worked in the higher education field, specifically the community college sector, for approximately 18 years. So having worked in admissions, registration and records, and for the past 11 years in the financial aid office. Prior to joining the North Carolina Community College sector, she worked in the banking and taxation industry. Ms. Lopes holds a master's degree in accounting from Liberty University and a bachelor's degree in accounting from Fayetteville State University. Our next presenter will be Timothy Sampson, who is the Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. He has worked in financial aid for 10 years and has served in various positions within the financial aid office. In his current role, he oversees the day-to-day operations, serves as the compliance officer for financial aid, and manages an office of 11 staff members and 3 work-study students. What he enjoys most about this role is looking around campus and seeing the students that he has helped. Following Mr. Sampson, we'll hear from Brenda Burgess, who serves as the Associate Director of Student Aid for the North Carolina Community College System Office. She previously served as the Director of Financial Aid and Veterans Affairs at Wayne Community College for approximately 13 years and at Edgecombe Community College for almost 2 years. She began her career in higher education at North Carolina Wesleyan College, working her way from financial aid counselor to financial aid director, serving over 7 years there. And then serving alongside Brenda at the North Carolina Community College System is J.W. Kelly, our final panelist, who serves as the Associate Vice President for Student Services in the system office. He previously served as a Vice President for Student Services at Randolph Community College. He began his community college career at Fayetteville Technical Community College and serves as the Student Service Coordinator and subsequently progressed through the positions of Director of Admissions and Division Chair for Humanities and Social Sciences. His academic experiences include a full-time instructor at Carolina Bible College and an adjunct instructor at Fayetteville Tech, Webster University, and Dallas Christian College. JW is a veteran of the U.S. Army, serving along Desert Storm and stationed at Fort Bragg. So we welcome and thank all of our panelists today, and we are going to go ahead and begin their great information with Zilma. So I'll advance the slide and let you go ahead and begin.
Thank you very much, Tony. I appreciate the introduction and welcome. Good morning, everyone. I'll get started with a little bit about myself. I've been at Robinson Community College for the past 2 years. Robinson County Community College is one of those counties that is struggling a little bit with the FAFSA completion rates. And we've been doing some wonderful things that I will share with you all today, how we are trying to get those numbers up in our county. Next slide. So just a little bit about what I'll be going over, just some FAFSA completion strategies and what we're doing at Robinson Community College, the financial aid process, the timeline specifically, how we determine age, how we apply for community college scholarships, and then we'll delve into the financial aid offer letter, used to be known as the award letter, but we are now instructed by Department of Ed to call it the offer letter. I'll leave you with some important tips and we'll do a quick recap, and then we'll have a little time for questions at the end. So before we dig into what we've done at Robeson Community College, I thought it's important to know a little bit about the demographics of our areas and other external factors that kind of play into why these numbers are so low in Robeson County, and how and what we're actually doing about it. So I'll give a little history about the Robeson County. First, Robeson County is the largest county by land mass in the state of North Carolina, and it's very, very diverse. So our county's population consists of about 40% American Indians, about 24% African American, little less than 10% Hispanics, and it is the home to the Lumbee tribe, which is the largest state tribe east of the Mississippi River. So although the county is very well known for this rich diversity, it is unfortunately one of the poorest counties in the state. So that comes with its challenges on its own. So over 31.5% of the population of Robeson County is living below the North Carolina state poverty. So that's definitely an issue. And as you see on the slide above you, in front of you, the FAFSA tracker that we use, of the 30% of FAFSA that have been completed by our seniors, high school seniors, 90% of those are low-income students. 88% of those students who have completed FAFSA thus far are of color, students of color. The other factor that I want you guys to kind of keep in your mind as well is that in addition to Robeson County being the largest county by land mass, it's a very rural area. So what we've encountered at Robeson Community College is a lot of our students don't have access to internet services. And that is not because they don't have access to a computer, but it's more so that internet access is just not available for them in certain parts of the county where they reside. So those are all factors that pose a challenge, and that my team here and I, we tend to have a lot of issues with, and when we're strategizing about FAFSA completion rates and what we're going to do for our students, we really rely on those and the data to kind of figure out what we're going to do. So what does that mean for us? I'll give a little bit more information about Robeson Community College. Our average age of students is 23. So there's other factors outside of those. Age is a big one for us. 23 is quite young. And we have a lot of, which means we have a lot of dependent students that are needing their parents' information. So that can pose another challenge with completing FAFSA that we'll get into a little later in the presentation. We serve approximately 1,900 students with a female to male ratio of 3 to 1, and with majority of our students being part-time, non-traditional students. Right, so what are we doing about it? We are very big at Robeson Community College about meeting students where they are. We are everywhere, is what I can basically say. My vice president, as well as our president here, President Melissa Singler, very big on community outreach events. So like I said, we are everywhere. A few places that we've been is Lumberton Food Truck Festival. We've done a mobile registration. We've done a second Lumberton Food Truck Festival. Apparently those are very popular in this county. A Roomba on the Lumbar Festival. We've done the Lumbee Homecoming, Christmas Parade. We're everywhere. So we are definitely meeting the students where they are. And I know everyone probably has heard that phrase, meet students where they are, but it is a very true statement. We do a lot of interaction with the students, and we do get to see them out here in the community and work with them quite a bit. Okay. So just a little bit about what we've done. The first Food Truck Festival, you see some pictures there. Very well attended events. There was hundreds of people at downtown Lumberton, and we were there. We were passing out flyers. We were ready to assist students with FAFSA, had laptops there available for them. They wanted to actually do their FAFSA there, or just giving out information postcards and checklists of what you need to do and how you can do your FAFSA. So that was one of our events. Next slide, please. This one was a nice, fun one. We've done some mobile registrations where we set up a full financial aid, admissions, registration tables outside of grocery stores. And we didn't just stay in Lumberton, we also went to St. Paul's, we went to Red Springs. So we went to different areas that we can find the students, because again, Robeson County is very large, it's the largest county by landmass. So instead of them coming to us, we're going to them and finding them at the grocery stores, wherever we can find them. So we had a nice little setup there. IT set everything up for us. And we actually did have some good turnout of students asking questions and filling out inquiry cards there for us. Most recently, we did the Roomba on the Lumber Festival, the 5K marathon run. Started off as a 5K marathon run and then also had a Chili and Bear Festival. We were there. Sometimes our academic departments will come out and reach in and join us. We have the cosmetology department there with their mannequin heads to show what they do. So again, just being out there in the community with our students and letting them know that we're here and answer any questions they have. We've also worked with some of our community partners. We have partnered up with CFNC and college advisors at the local high school, as well as myFutureNC for some FAFSA drive-in events that's been really, really popular, as well as GEER CFNC, our high school representative there, Brittany Privets. And then at Robeson Community College, we do have a TRIO Educational Opportunity Center, where we have a representative from the TRIO program that will come in and on 3 to 4 days a week and work with students individually. If a student wants one-on-one sit down with that person to do their FAFSA, this TRIO Education Opportunity Center will do that for them. My office does, of course, work with our students as well with completing their FAFSAs, but we are more on, we're big on trying to educate the students and have them complete their own FAFSAs. So we'll put them on the computer and then we'll guide them through the process, but we'll make sure that they're completing their FAFSAs. But for those students who want a little bit more individualized assistance, we will set an appointment for our TRIO counselor to go ahead and work with them on a one-on-one basis. So those are just some of the community partners we've worked with. So other ways that we've tried to get students to complete their FAFSAs, and I hate to say it, is we have to give them prizes. We have to find ways for them to complete those FAFSAs and give them some type of reward for it. So we partnered again with myFutureNC, CFNC, and GEER Up, and had a wonderful actually turnout for our big FAFSA driving event. It was the first one since pre-COVID. So we wanted to go big, and yeah, we did go ahead and get a big jumbo screen here. That was quite a bit of talk in the county. But we had a jumbo screen. We had where the students drove in and they stayed in their cars, and we would walk up to them and help them from the safety of their car. As well as we had a tent if students wanted to actually get out of their car and socially distance, they'll come in and actually meet with somebody one-on-one. But we offered grand prizes. Courtesy of our foundation office, we had a laptop drawing for the grand prize winner. We gave a scholarship for one free RCC course valued at $250. And we gave out $25 Food Lion gift cards every half an hour to the attendees that did, to the students that did attend the drive-in events. We had a second FAFSA drive-in just last year, and for that, at a food truck, we gave everybody a free ticket for a free meal. And my president likes to say, food is always going to bring people out. So that is what we tried for the second FAFSA drive-in, and it did work. So we had people come out and help them with the FAFSA, gave them a free meal, and also had some prizes for that one as well. Okay. And with FAFSA being in the month of October, we tend to do a lot of Halloween events or activities with FAFSA. As you see there, I'm dressed up as my favorite artist, Prince, for those who know. And did a Facebook Live, did some drawings as well for that. We did a drawing for students who came into the office dressed up in their favorite costume, and gave the winner a $25 Visa gift card. For those who couldn't come to our FAFSA driving event, we did something as simple as if you liked and shared our post there on our Facebook page and sent us a screenshot that you did complete your FAFSA that week, we were also entered into a drawing to get a $25 Visa gift card. So we do quite a bit to try to get our students FAFSA in early. Recently, we did a FAFSA night on November 4th with Brittany Privet, again, our CFNC representative. We hosted a FAFSA night at Wilson Community College specifically for our high school students. We also invited our trio of counselors to come in and assist, as well as our admissions office to be available for any questions. So we do quite a bit to try to get them to do their FAFSAs, but what happens after they do their FAFSA? Because it doesn't end there. Students tend to think that as soon as they press that submit button, that the process ends there, but no, there's plenty for them to still do to actually complete the process and get an award generated. So we'll go over the financial aid process a tad bit. Students submit the FAFSA. That's all our efforts worked, and we got the students to submit the FAFSA. Great, hallelujah, congratulations. Next thing is that it's going to take about 3 to 5 business days for the school, if the student lists us on their FAFSA, to receive a notification to receive their FAFSA. Once that happens, we will send notifications out to students, usually via email, their student email. So we tend to let them know, check your student email. Most schools will also send a letter at home to the students as well, but in this era, we're kind of moving into electronic everything, so the email is the best bet. Once the notifications are sent out, I'm running out of time, so I'm sorry there. Can I just finish up a little bit here? Okay, I ran out of time, sorry, but there's some documents that students have to submit, and then it goes into a file review verification that can take 1 to 2 weeks or longer, depending on the students. And then from there, the financial aid offer letter is generated, which can be immediate if the students using their portal. Just a little bit about the process on determining aid. Aid is determined by the student's expected estimated family contribution, which is derived from information that they put on their FAFSA, income, household size, number in college, and so forth. And I just put down there a little bit of the range for federal aid. Then state aid, which jumps in to help when federal students are not eligible for the federal aid. And then the Longleaf commitment grant, which I believe will be spoken about later in this presentation. And as you can see there, the EFC jumps up to about 15,000, so more students can qualify for that. Okay. Applying for scholarships, all I will say is there's lots of scholarships, research. Ask your local financial aid offices for a list of scholarships available at their institution, and check the financial aid office's webpage. There's a list of scholarships there, but we have students that just do not apply for scholarships. It's a big thing, so just urge them to apply. There's plenty of money out there in scholarships for them. Okay. Financial aid offer letter, every student will get one of these if they want to. Most of them will not read it, but it's full of important information. Does let them know about their award letters. But the big thing I will just leave you with on the offer letter is it's generated based on full-time status. So if they're not full-time, it is prorated appropriately based on their enrollment status. Just leave you with some tips and recap. Urging students to complete their FAFSA October 1st of every year. Add the many schools that they can reside in. We have a lot of last-minute students that did complete their FAFSA but did not list our school on their FAFSA, and then they come in last minute and we don't have their FAFSA. It takes another 3 to 5 business days to get that FAFSA into us. And we do want to work with you, so contact your local financial aid offices, again, get a list of scholarships and get on our radar for community events. We'd love to come out and speak to your students and present at any event that you might have. So that is all. I ran out of time. I do apologize, Tim, but I'll stay until the very end for any questions at the end of the presentation.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, thank you, Zelma. All right, we're ready for you, Tim. We'll move on to Timothy Sampson.
All right. Thanks for that great introduction as well. Again, my name is Timothy Sampson. I am the Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships here at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, and I'm glad to be here this morning. Zelma, when I read her presentation, I said she's going to steal some of my thunder, but it's okay. We're working together in financial aid. So again, as Zelma said, we do want to meet students where they are. So we have did local churches, local schools. We've done some out to events and that kind of stuff. So we would say connect with your local colleges. So everybody on this call, if you just connect with us, we'll be glad to come out and set up an event at your schools to help complete FAFSAs every day. We will have some FAFSA events coming up soon here at UNC Pembroke, and I'm pretty sure Zelma will have some as well that's coming up. We'll be glad to let you know about, so you can come out and help complete the FAFSAs for students. We do have some of the things, the strategies I'm going to talk about is some things the way we can connect with families. So open forums for families is something that I've started at Fayetteville Technical Community College before I came to UNC Pembroke. So it's actually a Zoom session of families that get on a call with the financial aid administrators and able to go through that process. We have breakout rooms where we were able to, schedule folks in certain breakout rooms to go over different situations about the FAFSA. Families most of the time don't complete the FAFSA because they say it's a complicated process. But if you need help, we're glad to help you. We're glad to be here to help your students and your families with the FAFSA completion. Again, this is a way for them to have an open communication with the financial aid office to be able to talk through those challenges that they're having. And majority of the time, the families have the same challenges. It's just trying to figure out how to complete the FAFSA and that kind of stuff. So like Zelma said, we do have FAFSA drive-in. So we did do two FAFSA drive-in events at the college. And so I'll give you a quick laugh story. At our first FAFSA drive-in, the Department of Ed decided to take down FAFSA the day we were supposed to do our FAFSA drive-in. So we were scrambling at last minute, but again, financial aid officers always prevail against different things that come across us. So we printed paper FAFSAs and we completed every paper FAFSA for a student to be able to do their information online when the system came back up. So that's a good thing about us in financial aid. We try to make a solution where there is no solution. So again, that was a great time for us. We were able to help folks with that hard part, which is the financial part of their FAFSA, was able to go through them one by one, and they was able to still get the help they needed. FAFSA nights, so having FAFSA nights, that is great. We do have those a couple of times a year here at UNCP, which will be more in the future. I'm new to UNC Pembroke, so again, they don't know my outreach efforts that I like to do. So we're going to get our financial aid office up and busy for FAFSA nights. For your families to come out to be able to do their FAFSAs, we know most of our families are working during the day, so we try to have those events from 6 to 8 o'clock or 6 to 9, just to be able to get your families out to get those FAFSAs done. And again, talking about family nights, and we will gladly coordinate or connect with you all as well to be able to have events that you want to have. If you want to create a family night or a FAFSA event at your location or where you are, just contact us. We'll be glad to meet you where you are and get those taken care of. Computer labs at high school. So we normally try to reach out to our high schools and our local to get the local computer labs to be able to give that information to students to be able to help those families. And so I think as I'm gonna piggyback on Zelma too, you got to offer incentives. Students are not going to come out without any incentives. So we've been trying to give out $200 bookstore gift cards here at the university. We did a couple gift cards for students. We did a couple free classes. So we are trying to do that as well. So you got to give students incentives. You got to give families reasons to come out to help. Even though you're giving them money, aid to go to school, you still have to have those incentives. And I think about mobile FAFSA, I think, we are in the process of we have buses here on campus. So we're going to do a mobile FAFSA where we actually going to put hotspot boxes in the buses and go around the county helping people do FAFSA. So we are gearing up for that as well. So again, meet students where they are. I think that's our phrase across financial aid offices these days, meet students where they are. Next slide. So when we talk about verification is another struggle for our families because they're like, well, I did my FAFSA, now you ask me to verify my information. So verification is the process that schools use to confirm that the data reported on the FAFSA is correct. Even though that at beginning a couple years ago, or even last year, our verification rate was up to like 30% of students selected for verification. We're down to like 16% now in students selected for verification. So the Department of Ed has realized that that is a struggle for families, and they did lower the requirement for verification. So I think last time I checked, we were at 16% of students selected for our school. So that data is for us as financial aid administrators to be able to look at what the student put on the FAFSA, make sure that it is accurate information. So I always tell families and students, when you complete your FAFSA, go ahead and get those documentations together just in case you are selected for verification. So you're ready for that. Most families, they'll do their stuff through their FAFSAs, and they do the data retrieval tool, or they'll use their finances for whatever, and then they put them away somewhere and can't find it when it's time for verification. So I tell folks, I always, when I was a student at UNC Pembroke, I always did my FAFSA and got my tax information together, because I was selected every year, regardless. Every year I was selected for verification, even though I did what I was supposed to. It's not saying that you did anything wrong or the students did anything wrong. It's just that is the part of our responsibilities as financial aid administrators, is to do verification. Again, like I said, for some, this is more about summer melt. So I know that some of the administrators in high schools are closed for the summer. We have limited staff during the summer, but the colleges, we're fully open. Our financial aid offices are here. We are available. So if you are needing to calling us to come to your school to help with that information, we can. To help with students completing FAFSAs, we can do that. So just reach out to us and we'll be glad to come out to you. And like Zelma said, we'll go all throughout the county, all throughout wherever we need to go. But at the end of the day, we try to work together as financial aid officers. Yes, we're trying to get those students to come to our school, but sometimes we have to just put that aside and actually just help folks complete the FAFSA and get that process done. And go back for just a second. Sorry. And it's another thing for summer melt, just keep in contact with your students. I know over the summer that it's hard to get in contact with them, but if they can get that process done through the summer, and like, again, our financial aid offices are open to assist them, they can call us anytime. We'll be able to help them and walk them through the process they need. And explain special circumstances of students. Some students think because they might have a homeless situation, or they might have a McKinney-Vento situation, or their parents abandoned them, or their parents are going through drug abuse, alcohol abuse, that kind of stuff, that they're not going to get the information they need or qualify to do a FAFSA. And that's not the case. We do have special circumstances called professional judgments that we could do for students. So if they have a special situation and you just don't know how to direct them, contact us at our local schools, and we'll be able to assist your students in that situation. So institutional scholarships and grants. So this is scholarship season. So January through May is scholarship season. So we ask folks to complete their FAFSA, because the majority of our scholarships are based on need. So we need to determine the need of the student. So we have to have a student complete the FAFSA to be able to determine if they even need a scholarship. They need to determine what college they're going to attend, if it's UNCP, if it's RCC, if it's any other school they're going to go to attend, and then they need to apply for scholarships. Each school is different. Here at UNC Pembroke, we have about 327 scholarships, institutional scholarships that students are eligible for, and over 95% of them are auto-matched, which means that the student completed their application, they're auto-matched to their scholarships if they qualify for them. So there's nothing on the student's part they need to do. But there are 7 or 8 out there that they have to apply for. So we just ask that you just follow your school, the student's school that they're going to, what their qualifications are. Again, it varies school by school. Have students to check their email for updates. And again, we know students do not check their emails. They don't read emails, they don't check them. But at UNC Pembroke, and I'm sure at RCC as well, that the official communication to students is their student email. So we try to make sure that we send the information to them through their email to give them the latest updates. And again, it's important to let students know that when you get a scholarship, thank your donors. Thank them for allowing you to get that scholarship. We have some kind of an issue sometimes where students don't want to complete thank you letters to our donors. So again, they're giving you a scholarship to help you go to school. So again, those thank you letters. So in high school, when they're doing that, if they can learn how to write thank you letters to donors and write those people who's trying to help them get their education. Here's 4 scholarship websites that your students can go to receive scholarships. Most of these websites have about 100+ scholarships that students can apply for. So I think it's really good for those. I try to tell folks every time I give a presentation, write these websites down, know these websites, so you'll be able to use them in the future for your students to get scholarships. If we'll go back for just a second, Ms. Tony, and let's let them write it down for just a moment. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Timothy, and I appreciate you bringing up the scholarship side of the FAFSA, because we know that many of our scholarship donors are asking families to complete a FAFSA just to check that EFC eligibility before they're willing to give that scholarship. So I appreciate the connection there. And so we are going to move right into Brenda's section with J.W. Kelly from our North Carolina Community College system.
Good morning, everyone. I think I'm going to kick us off a little bit, and then Brenda is going to share with everyone her expertise. She has the hard work today. I have the easy work. I just want to give some thank yous before we talk about the Longleaf commitment. First of all, you may know that this was kicked off by Governor Cooper, as you can see on the slide there. And we want to give our thanks to the governor's office for envisioning the Longleaf Commitment Grant Program, and then also finding the funding for it. And then we also appreciate the General Assembly, who Brenda is going to speak about here in a few minutes. They saw that vision and they jumped on board and were able to find additional funding to continue the Longleaf Commitment Grant for our community college students, which we're very grateful for that partnership up here in Raleigh between the General Assembly and the Governor's Office. So thank you to them. I also want to say thank you to Brenda and her expertise and her leadership, and also to the North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority. If it wouldn't have been for their assistance in helping us get all the logistics taken care of, and Brenda's work here at the system office, and then another unsung hero at the system office is Brandy Massey, and we appreciate her work as well in trying to make all of this come together. So the last thank you, and then I'll be quiet and let Brenda do her thing, is I would be remiss not to thank people like Zilma and Timothy and the work that they do in the financial aid offices across the state. As you can tell, there are a lot of transactional duties that the financial aid offices have, both in the UNC system and the community colleges, but they really have a mission and vision to be transformational and to serve students as best they can. And so you can see from their presentations, they don't want to just process a piece of paper or a FAFSA. They really want to try to help and serve students. And so they can bundle together and they can thread together a lot of student aid resources that can help your students. So I strongly encourage you, even after the presentation today, is go to that local community college or your local university and work directly with those financial aid offices, because they really do care and they really do want to see students be able to accomplish their career and educational goals. So I'm setting the stage for Brenda. And without further ado, Brenda, you can take the mic and share with the Longleaf commitment.
So thank you, Dr. Kelly, and thank you, Tony, for that introduction. Dr. Kelly has already mentioned some of the goals that our governor's office actually had in mind with the Longleaf Commitment Grant and some of our other grant programs that have come out of that $51 million was designed for a couple of things. The goals included, of course, to improve post-secondary access and also completion rates for students who were most impacted by the pandemic. We all know that in 2020, it brought about a whirlwind of change. And many of our students were kind of, I'm going to say, lost in the sauce, didn't know which way to go after high school graduation. And as Zilma and Timothy have already stated, reducing some of those barriers to student success that we know to be financial barriers will sometimes limit students from being able to attend school. And also to accelerate our equity-focused programs and also provide good data-based resources. So with that, we are attempting to invest in our students by, if you will move to the next slide for me, launching of our Longleaf Commitment Grant Program, where we're super excited that on May 24th of 2021, Governor Cooper announced a program that would help our 21 high school graduates that were planning to enroll in one of our community colleges, beginning with our fall semester of 2021, by providing them with a grant that would range from $700 to a maximum of $2,800. And that for a whole academic year, that would include 4 semesters, for a total of 4 semesters, fall and spring. Summer terms were not applicable because this particular grant falls in line or aligns with our community college grant and also education lottery. And as you all know, those 2 grant programs are only available to students who are attending during the fall and the spring semesters. We do encourage our students to enroll full-time, but we know that there are situations that would sometimes prohibit a student from being able to enroll full-time. So the grant is, the Longleaf Commitment Grant is prorated for those students who attend less than full-time. So for any student that was eligible for the Longleaf Commitment Grant, graduating in 2021, the grant actually ends spring of 23 for them. So it sounds a little weird, but the student would receive a grant fall semester of 21, spring semester of 22, and also fall semester of 22, and it ends for them in spring of 23. So if you'll move to that next slide for me. Some additional eligibility requirements for Longleaf Commitment Grant, in addition to being a graduate in 2021. And I do want to make sure that I point out this important fact is that there are some high schools that are located outside of North Carolina, but the student is considered a North Carolina resident for tuition purposes. So that's why it's very important that our students are considered a North Carolina resident as determined by RDS. So that out of state high school, if the student is classified as an in-state resident, could qualify for the Longleaf Commitment Grant. Being a first-time college student, we do have students that will graduate from a early middle CC or career CCP program. So those students may have some prior college credit, but they are entering college for the first time as a college student, entered college in 2021. That student would qualify for the Longleaf Commitment Grant. And again, enrolling in a curriculum program for at least 6 credit hours. We do want our students to maximize the grant and do encourage full-time enrollment. However, we know that life happens. So enrolling at least 6 credit hours. Completing the FAFSA for the first cohort of students, 21 graduates, they had to have a FAFSA completed by for the 21-22 year. And having that estimated family contribution number, that is that magic number that appears after the FAFSA is completed. And you will see a number between 0 and could be $999,000. But the magic number for the Longleaf Commitment Grant is an EFC range that is below $15,000. And for the 21 graduates, making sure that they have renewed a FAFSA for 22-23. It's important now that we know that Timothy and Zilma have both indicated meeting the students where they are. So I think that there may be some food truck events coming up, some other exciting events that we can invite our students to attend to make sure that they have that FAFSA on file for 22-23. Students must be meeting satisfactory academic progress standards that are set by the colleges as well. And again, it's important to remember that for the 21 graduates, the grant period does end spring of 23. Now, before we move to the next slide, I would like to point out to you that there were some students who were still kind of in limbo, trying to make up their minds. So they missed enrolling in the fall semester. But however, if they graduated within that time period of 21, and we even took it back a step further, the governor's office approved. We took it back a step further to include those students that were really lost in the sauce and graduated during the pandemic. We allowed them to be able to attend one of our 58 community colleges beginning spring of 22. Those students would be eligible for the Longleaf Commitment Grant as long as all of the other criteria are met. And their grant period would extend through fall of 23. So that's a really good deal there. And if you'll move on to the next slide for me. Just a couple of facts, and we are super excited that we were able to offer the Longleaf Commitment Grant to a total of a little more than 11,000 students, 11,619 students to be exact as of fall of 21. Now those certifications, this is a number of students that our schools actually certified. It totaled a little more than $4.6 million. On average, our 58 community colleges certified anywhere from 11 to 1,157 students. Now, as of this date or last week, as a matter of fact, when this presentation was being prepared, schools had reportedly certified a little more than 9,500 students for the spring semester. And I want to point out to you, it's very important to understand that spring semester certifications are still ongoing because a lot of our colleges have shorter term classes that may start, maybe starting now in March. So those certifications will continue. But on average, between our 58 colleges, they have certified to date, and again, this is a moving number, anywhere from 2 to a little over 1,100 students for the Longleaf Commitment Grant. An unduplicated number, and again, it's a moving number, is more than 21,000 students have been awarded or received a little more than $8 million in the Longleaf Commitment Grant. Super exciting news. If you will move to my next slide. Brand new, and this was effective November, and will go into effect for our class of 2022 high school graduates. The General Assembly, our state leaders, provided funding in the 21-22 budget to extend the Longleaf Commitment Grant to those students who are graduating high school in 2022. Same other criteria apply, of course, being a North Carolina resident as determined by RDS, enrolling in a curriculum program starting fall of 22 for at least 6 credit hours, completing the FAFSA for 22-23 to begin the grant, and also renewing for 23-24. And of course, meeting the SAP standards as required by the college. And for this cohort of students, the grant will end spring of 24. So the student still receives a total of 4 semesters of Longleaf Commitment Grant. Another important piece that I left out was the Longleaf Commitment Grant may be offered to students on top of any Pell Grant North Carolina Community College Grant, and North Carolina Education Lottery Scholarship that a student may receive. So super exciting news. We are happy, excuse me, to partner with myFutureNC, CFNC, the North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority, all of our external partners who have helped us to put this grant together to be able to administer those funds to our students in North Carolina, and especially for being able to make the cost even more affordable for those students that, you know, did not even see education as an option for them, and being able to attend one of our 58 community colleges. And next slide, I think I moved a little too fast, but.
Okay, thank you so much, Brenda and JW, for that section of the presentation. And Chris, I'll turn to you to see if there's anything we need to lift up from the chat before we go into the call to action.
Yeah, I think the only things that folks had raised on the chat were just the Longleaf commitment, just clarifying that this is also eligible for class of 2022. And I think that those were very well provided. We will be sending out links directly to both of those sites for CFNC as well as those on Community College's site. I also want to lift up that there were some questions about FAFSA 50. For those of you that are within our Cooperative Innovative High School network, the FAFSA 50 were eligible for you as well, so long as you use the FAFSA tracker and indicated through a screenshot your calculation of your senior class size and the percentage of completion by February 15th. Because of grades 12 and 13 and the denominator that so oftentimes is something that becomes a little bit of a data challenge. We had sent an email out to all of our CIHS schools in regards to that. So if you'd like to reference that again to see if you become eligible for the FAFSA 50 award, go ahead and reference that email. Otherwise, please email NC First in FAFSA at myfuturenc.org.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that review of the chat and some of those questions and comments. And Brenda, I'd just like to ask a clarifying question, because you did mention that students can receive federal Pell money, additional state grants, the Longleaf community grant in a stackable format. So as long as those funds do not exceed the cost of attendance, those are all stackable. But let me ask you to address outside scholarships and institutional scholarships. Can those be stacked in addition to the federal and state grants?
I believe so, but I really want to, I would like to extend this question to Ms. Lopes and also to Mr. Sampson, because it may vary based on the college's actual cost of attendance and also factors that would come into play with any outside scholarships. So if either one of them would like to elaborate on it, I would like to hear from them.
I can answer that for you, Brenda. So yeah, as long as the student still has financial need, which we'll look at as cost of attendance, state grants are a need-based aid, so we will deduct any need-based aid. All aid received, designated financial assistance received first, so outside scholarships will fall under that, and then we'll award any aid. Federal aid is the order of how we have to award it. But as long as they still have financial need, which again is going to be calculated by cost of attendance first, deducting their expected family contribution, as well as other aid received. If they still have an unmet financial need, they can still receive all of those aid.
Yeah, and I would add to that, No, I agree with Zelma. Only thing we have a problem with is that when folks get outside scholarships after we've already awarded the aid, and then we have to back off additional aid off their account because we're trying to get into it within that budget or that cost of attendance. So they are stackable as long as they have the need, but if they receive outside scholarships or institutional scholarships after the fact, we have to adjust based on those new awards.
Thank you so much for addressing that question. I know at this time of year with students that visit their high school counseling offices, asking for any additional scholarship applications, that it's just great information to let them know that they can, if they receive those, just need to stay in contact with their financial aid offices so that, like you said, Timothy, that that outside money coming in can be navigated to work with the students' finances. So thank you so much for that. So we'll move right into the call to action part of the presentation, and we just have a few minutes left, so I'll go through this quickly. I'm just asking you all to bookmark ncfirstandfafsa.com, where you'll be able to have easy access to the tracker, the innovative practices, and the leaderboard, and of course the list of resources that are there for all of you to use. And again, if you're not receiving the First and FAFSA report from NCSEAA, please reach out to that email address and ask for permission to access that for your school. We are taking submissions for the 2022 Innovation Award, and we'll take those through April the 12th at 5 p.m. And these are, we're looking for innovative strategies that dramatically increased your school's financial FAFSA completion rate. And each winner will receive a $500 award to use for college and career access at your schools. You'll have some information in the follow-through email with links to all of these. And then, of course, please share the Longleaf Community Grant process with the graduates at your high schools. And then one last data point that I'd like to share out is the myFutureNC Attainment Trends Workbook. So that is updated county attainment data, which does include your FAFSA completion information, but along with many other college and career access data points. And then before we conclude, I just wanted to lift up one of our upcoming myFutureNC opportunities, and that is an Opportunity Youth Network that we will be hosting on March 31st from 2 to 3 p.m. And during this webinar, we will learn about the collaborative work taking place in Surry and Yadkin counties, led by the Elkin City Schools, the Mount Airy City Schools, Surry County Schools, and Yadkin County Schools, along with the assistance of Surry Community College. And additionally, during that webinar, we will learn about the Surry Yadkin Works program, which is a regional internship model providing an opportunity for high school students to complete an internship in a local business, gain valuable real-world experience, earn high school and college credits, some industry recognized credentials, and a financial stipend. So exciting stuff happening, and we'll be sharing all of that out on March 31st at that Opportunity Youth Network. And so I have almost at 11 o'clock, so I will just say then thank you all for attending, and a special thanks to our panelists, Zelma Lopes, Timothy Sampson, J.W. Kelly, and Brenda Burgess, and along with my colleague, Chris Charbonneau, and the comms team at myFutureNC that's working to help these webinars become such successful resources for our networks here in North Carolina. So from the team at myFutureNC, we realized that the goal of 2 million North Carolinians with a high quality credential or degree by 2030 would not be possible without your efforts and passion at the local level. So we celebrate and support the work that you're doing and encourage you to connect with us at myFutureNC, visit our website and reach out. We are in this partnership together. So thank you so much for attending this webinar, and we hope you have a wonderful day.